What would you do with 6 grand a month in pure profits? Let's see how this print-on-demand store built such great sales with their quirky but easy products. Hi, I'm Jess. I've built multiple 6 and 7 figure Etsy stores in various niches, getting sales like these, and learning the ins and outs of Etsy, Amazon, and more. A wild and crazy event led me to start a totally new life traveling abroad, giving me the unique opportunity to step back, work a lot less, and start sharing all of my Etsy insights with you. So hit that subscribe button, grab a pen and paper, and let's jump in. Hello, and thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you for joining us. I feel like there is an endless supply of print-on-demand t-shirt stores that I could review because they sell great, but that gets kind of boring. So today I bring you something a little bit more unusual. In fact, most of their products are a little silly, and I love it. But one thing that I noticed is that this particular seller is based in the UK and they only sell to the UK, which leaves a whole world out there that is missing out on these awesome products. So let's dig into their Etsy store stats and then we're going to look at some of these fun ideas. So as of right now, this store has 67,800 sales. They are crushing it. And they have an average product price of about $14. Now, that is a little bit conservative because you guys know I'm super conservative with these estimates. Around $14 is what I gave them on average. As you can see, they have a lot of popular stuff. And most of this, all of this pretty much, is print on demand. And we're going to take a look into some of these in just a second. On July 18th of 2020, with this adorable stepdad, stepdaughter t-shirt set. That is so stinking cute. Anyhow, they started selling around July of 2020 with a $14 average price point. With 67,806 sales, that puts their approximate annual revenue at $285,000 a year, which is awesome. Super awesome. I love those numbers. So this store is just killing it in sales, and like I said a second ago, they have some really popular stuff. And that's largely because it's not just run-of-the-mill things that you can see in any print-on-demand store. It's pretty cute and unique and well thought out. Some of them are even a little bit cheeky. So let's take a look at a couple of their best sellers. The first one I wanted to show you was this. This is hilarious, and it is not safe for work, but in the UK, this is not such a bad word. In the US, this is pretty offensive word. It is selling like crazy. Every time I've looked at this, it has been selling, very well. And the bestsellers that we're going to look at today all have a similar, if not an exact match on Printify. So keep in mind, however, that this particular seller is using UK vendors. They are shipping to the UK. So everything is within the UK for this particular store. So make sure you check out multiple resources when you're looking for vendors if you're considering adding some of these similar types of products into your own store. And I do have a freebie of 75, I think at least 75 different print-on-demand manufacturers. It covers manufacturers worldwide. And Printify, of course, is at the very top of the list. I am an affiliate with Printify. They sponsor some of my videos. And so they are always high on my list just because of their product availability and their pricing and the fact that they sync automatically with Etsy, which makes it super seamless to process your orders. But there's a whole bunch of other companies on that freebie that you can check out. So all my resources are down in the listing description below if you want to check those out. There's lots of good stuff in there. So this particular seller is likely using a company like this one, Incredible. This is a UK specific vendor. And as you can see, they have tote bags in lots of different colors here. And they do have other tote bags as well, and even a couple of unique kinds of bags, like these roll top bags, these drawstring bags. I actually just saw a huge Christmas bestseller that has these tote bags as gift sacks, and it was adorable and brilliant. So this vendor has a great selection of products specific to the UK, but I don't want to focus too much on the vendors for this video because I noticed some interesting things about this store's particular listings. Because these items are selling like absolute crazy, but if we look at a couple of their biggest sellers here, there's some glaring thing that you might notice. And that is the lack of photos. There are It's crazy. This one literally has 2 photos with different name right here, and that's the only difference between these 2 photos. This listing, which has sold 39 times in the last 24 hours, has a photo. This one. That's it. Literally, that's it. So this one sold 32 times in the last 24 hours. Absolute crazy. What even is these socks? Like, we can see the bottom of the socks has a print on it. Are they tube socks? Are they ankle socks? We don't know. We have no idea. There's no other picture here to tell us what the heck this is. And it does not say here in the description, this is their whole description here. It doesn't say what kind of socks these are. It tells us the size is 6 to 11. One size US adult sock. So they're selling to the UK, but they're giving US sizes, which is kind of interesting. However, we don't know if they're long socks, short socks, whatever they might be. We kind of got to guess, and it doesn't matter because they're so trendy. This design is so unique. People are buying it anyways. Same with this one. It has 0 other pictures, and at least we can see here that these are tube socks, so that's cool. Like, we have a little more details. Again, it's the size of 6 to 11. We have very little information here in terms of really anything. And I'm not sure, honestly, if Strava is a licensed logo, but I'm going to guess that it is. So this might be a questionable design in general. And it is selling like absolute madness, just madness. One picture, very little information, and going crazy. So these are this particular listing is for the running niche, so it's targeting runners. This one here is targeting football, or in the US we call it soccer. And of course this one, which has sold 19 times in the last 24 hours, this one has a few more bits of information. So you can see the tote bag in different colors here. This one has the size added, which is awesome. Very informational. But there's not a lot of there's no props, there's not any mock-ups. It's just very blank and to the point, basic pictures here. So they're not putting a ton of effort into making this really fancy in terms of their images. This is the fanciest picture they have, and it's cute because it has the little kitty. But that's it. That's the one mock-up that they really have, aside from these ones with the blank white background. So that was really interesting to me, and I thought that was worth pointing out. So basically, that got me wondering, what is really driving these sales? Is it because their designs are just really funny and eye-catching and clever? And I think that really does play a big role in it. In addition to that, however, is that
Wait a second here. Before we go any further, I want to take a quick second and thank everyone who has supported my channel. Everything that you guys do to help support my channel goes back into making new free resources and all kinds of fun stuff for you guys. Some of the big supporters that I would like to thank today include Zoe C, Lisa, Karen, Linda, Nino Nennis Brown, Cindy, Shelby H, Edgar, Gita, Lori, Tanya, Lindley, Connie, Brett, Emily S., and Monique. Every single time that you guys have liked or subscribed to my channel, bought me a coffee, or left a comment, that also helps me grow. So thank you for everything that you guys have done to help me support and grow this channel. Okay, now,
in addition to that, however, is that their pricing is really low. In terms of a print-on-demand store, their pricing is on the very low end. And there's not a message here that says that they are using a vendor a lot of times, and you're supposed to, if you are a print-on-demand seller, you are supposed to disclose that this is made, that your products are made with help from a printing service. That if you do not disclose that and you are using a service like Printify or any other manufacturer, you are at risk of having your store shut down. So I do want to disclaimer that not everybody discloses that information, and that is one of the red flags that Etsy looks for when they are shutting down a lot of print-on-demand sellers. And that really comes down to being transparent and giving your customers reasonable expectations that what they're getting matches what you're saying they're going to get. So customer experience, customer quality is a very, very big part of Etsy's algorithm and Etsy's factoring in everything, really. That's like the most important thing to Etsy is customer satisfaction. So make sure you're disclosing that if you are looking at being a print-on-demand seller. However, whether or not this seller is print on demand or not, they could very well be printing these themselves. And that would really support these lower prices because you can find blank tote bags pretty affordably. You can find blank socks pretty affordably, and then you can print them yourselves. And there is a cost when you do it that way. The profit margin is much, much higher because you're not paying a third-party printer to make and ship these out for you. However, you do have to pay for the equipment up front, and you have to keep in mind all of the blanks, all the blank items. So a blank is essentially the tote bag without a print on it yet, ready to be printed, or the socks without anything on them yet, they're blank, or t-shirts that are blank and ready to be printed on. You do need to keep some of those on hand in various sizes, colors, whatever, so that you can ship them quickly. So that is also a cost you need to consider when you're looking at maybe bringing a print-on-demand type of service in-house and doing it yourself so you can keep most of the products. And one of my, in fact, my second big successful Etsy store that I had, I believe I started that one in 2013. We did our own manufacturing, and we actually had well, we started in the living room. It kind of took over most of the house and the garage and expanded to a 2-story office space, cute little office. And we did that ourselves. So the profit margin was very high. We brought that over to Amazon as well. This is, I think, even maybe before Shopify existed, but we did eventually expand to Shopify, and the profit margin was amazing. Once we moved overseas and I had to, obviously I couldn't bring all my equipment over and I had to change everything over to print on demand, that profit margin was much, much smaller. But I also wasn't creating everything by hand. So you gain time. You're trading time for money, essentially. So there are pros and cons to both sides. Now, there are not as many sellers in the UK that ship to the UK. So that could also be another factor of why the store is selling so well, because their customers are not going to have to wait for international shipping. They're going to get their orders much, much faster. So that is also something you want to consider when selling print on demand is, do you have a print provider who can ship worldwide so that when customers order from Europe or from the UK, they're not waiting for weeks for the package to come from the US to get to them. And again, that's another reason why I love Printify, because they do have worldwide printers. But there are other companies that can print and ship from worldwide, multiple locations throughout the world as well. So definitely grab that freebie, grab that list, and check it out. But yeah, this store is just crushing it in sales, and they really have so many popular products. For example, this tote bag here is just a name and an initial with some flowers behind it. And they don't even have like an image with the different options for flowers. So you can choose from these 3 different types of flowers and put any name you want on it. It sold 39 times in the last 24 hours, and it's going for $14. Let's actually change this to the UK here. So the cost to ship this into the UK is $2.05. These are US dollars. The UK uses pounds, but essentially this is a very affordable tote bag. If you're to buy a tote bag from a US vendor on Etsy, a US seller, it's probably going to come closer in the $20 range. So that really comes back to their prices being very affordable and probably contributing in large part to being such a big seller because they do have low prices. And it's not as big of a risk if the product ends up not being great quality if it didn't cost a ton of money to begin with. So that's definitely a factor involved in how well they may or may not be selling. Comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts in seeing me review this store. If you think maybe it's a combination of their low prices and their affordability, or if it's just that they have tapped into that UK market and that helps put them ahead, or maybe in the UK, I know the cost of living is different than in the US, so maybe these prices are pretty comparable when you account for that. I have no idea. But I am curious if you have an idea to hear your thoughts on it, so please comment that below. And for more fun print-on-demand ideas that are not t-shirts that make millions of bucks, check out this video next.